Hey, gratitude is not easy. Sometimes it's full of junk, like all this junk. It's gunky. It doesn't play nice sometimes, but we have to find our little sliver of it. That's next on this episode of the Gratitude Journal. I realize that in this quest to help others find more beneficial ways to have gratitude in their life, I want it to be kind of like a dishwasher door. And I say that because I've had this issue lately where I was noticing these little trickles of water underneath the dishwasher door as it was going through its cycle. And obviously, this worried me. I hate water. We lived in a house in Pittsburgh, and this guy had routed like some tube, like he had like some antenna outside, and he took all his wires and put it in a tube and ran it, into his basement. And, he kind of missed out on the point that, as the ground gets saturated with rain, it's like taking this water through this tube into the house. So, we had this massive water issue, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And then I kind of put two and two together and played Columbo and figured out that, it was getting in through this tube. So water like frightens the heck out of me. And so when I noticed these little trickles of water underneath the dishwasher door, I thought, okay, I got to fix this. And here it was just like a seal. And I had to buy this sort of aftermarket seal and then figure out how to put the seal inside the door. And, where did I go for that? Well, obviously I went to YouTube, and I am not the most handy person in the world. And long before Donna's diagnosis with Alzheimer's, she did everything. She is like a bulldog. And, I just kind of playfully stood over in the corner, waiting for her to fix something, because she would fix it, but she had this dogged determination to fix stuff. And I am not going to let this defeat me. And meanwhile, I would give up in 2 seconds and, call somebody who knew something. And then I would apologize 100 times because I was just such a dumbass. But not her, man. She was just a bulldog about this stuff. And so over the course of the past couple of years, I've had to take on this role of trying to fix stuff and make things work. And, YouTube is part of that world now where we can pretty much learn to do anything if we have the gumption, to want to learn to do it, or in my case, have to learn to do it. But gratitude's, it's way different than that, because really, I had all these plans finding the missing thing in your life, and you're overlooking, these small ways to get gratitude. And in reality, it's very, very tough. There's nothing easy about it. And so my quest, I guess, in this channel is to figure out, if I can find something small, maybe you can too. And maybe it'll do something, better for your day. And I've just been having a series of just miserable days. And yesterday was no different. I feel like all the cards were sort of lined up for me to have this amazing day. And the sun was shining, and we had this forecast of rain earlier in the week, and I woke up and looked outside and went, wow, this is shaping up to be a beautiful day. And it was. I don't think a cloud made one appearance through the day. And in our neck of the woods here in Northeast Ohio, sometimes at this time of the year, it's either cold or drizzly like it was on Saturday, or there's impending storms. We just don't get a lot of sunshine up until maybe May and into the early part of summer. And then it's totally gorgeous most of the time. But I feel this was one of those situations where it lined up to be a perfect day, and I got all my bills done and all my invoicing and all that kind of stuff. And I was just feeling this overall angst, the trauma of being a caregiver, and it was just wearing on me. I felt really impatient. I made, breakfast and eggs, and I forgot to put the salt in, and it was just, I thought it was going to be like a great day, and just things were lining up, boom, boom, boom. And I was just having kind of like a miserable day. And while we're driving to do our errands, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I've got to like jump out of this thing that I'm in, and I've got to find some way to feel grateful about something today. And so we had to stop in like one of the convenience stores, and I went in, and there's like a line of 9 people, and then there's like 5 or 6 people lining up before me. I mean, it was like trying to buy tickets to like a Taylor Swift concert. I mean, it was like, what is going on here? It's Sunday. Everyone has their energy drinks, and they're trying to, go out and enjoy, what's shaping up to be this beautiful day. But yeah, I was just like loaded with angst, and I almost like butterflies in my stomach, and I really can't explain it. Have you ever felt that way, where you just like, you feel an overall sense of angst or dread? And I don't feel that all the time, because I don't want to give you the impression that I'm just this walking, demoralized, depressed creature just stalking around. But that's the way I've been feeling for the last couple of days. And I got up to the counter and was called over by the person behind the register, and like they don't really want to be there, and like everyone in line really doesn't want to be there because they just want to get their stuff and they just want to go. And sometimes in these instances I've found in the past where like that's the impetus for getting me from like point A to point B. Like we just sometimes have to stop in the middle of whatever it is we're doing and realize that I know I'm the customer, and like, she's the person behind the register, and I don't want to be too demanding, and she just wants to do her job because that's what she's getting paid to do until she gets the next job. And sometimes I have to remember, like, we're just like human people. We're just like, I'm on this side of the counter, but I'm a human person, and she's on that side of the counter, and she's a human person. And where do we find this little speck of, glimmer in an otherwise, day, even though the sun is amazing? I mean, it was an amazing day weather-wise. And I looked at her badge, and it said, Char, Char apostrophe ODNAY or something like that. It was like Chardonnay, and so she was doing the transaction. She was giving me my change back for whatever I was getting. Probably my little cheese can of Pringles, which is sort of like my weekend reward thing that I give myself. And I love Pringles, especially the cheese ones, if they have enough cheese on it. Because if you're going to do trans fats, you might as well just do it all the way. And so I said, I was getting my change, and there were, like, people behind me were just like huffing and puffing. They want to get out of there. And I said, is your name Chardonnay? And she goes, yeah. She goes, I have 2 sisters. They're named Cristobal and Champagne. I just burst out laughing, and she burst out laughing. And so I just grabbed my change and turned away, and everyone was like in the line looking at me because no one was talking, and I just like burst out in this enormous wave of laughter because it just was so great. And as I was walking to the car, I was thinking, okay, I had kind of a crappy day in the morning. I didn't feel like a very able, patient caregiver. I kind of not yelled at Donna, but just like I was just impatient, and she was asking me something for like the 3rd or 4th time, and I think to myself, I'm used to this by now, and I just wasn't. I wasn't very good, and I hurt kind of my hip playing pickleball, and it was like I was kind of limping, sort of half limping to the car, knowing that in 3 hours I wanted to play pickleball again, but like was I going to be physically able to do that? I was having a crappy morning, but that in itself, I mean, I'm still howling thinking about that. And she had this like great smile on her face, like, yeah. And she was like, so proud that her sisters' names were Champagne and Cristobal. And I thought, okay, their parents figured out some, interesting ways to name them. Maybe they owned a bar. I don't know. And I was driving away thinking about that. And I said to Donna, her name is Chardonnay, like the wine, and it just put a smile on my face. So I feel like, I guess my message today is in the midst of all the stuff that happens during the mundaneness. I know there's a regular word for that, but that's the one I'm choosing right now of our day that, maybe, that's the thing. And so I always tell myself when I'm pulling into that drive-through, when I'm getting us a taco or whatever, like ask the person how their day is going, because they're just a human person. I mean, they're just another person who's, it's their job to wait on you. And, you're in a rush because you're in a drive-through. I mean, no one's in a drive-through for, their convenience or because their day is just so great that they want to go through a drive-through. But I feel like just that little bit, of like breaking what do they say in the theater, breaking the fourth wall. It's okay to ask somebody, how their day is. And who knows, it might like put a smile on your face as it did yesterday for me. So that's my moment of gratitude. And I hope you have one of those too. Like make it happen yourself. Yeah, you can wait for it, but maybe don't wait for it. Bring it on. Be assertive. Be proactive about, trying to find that little thing that's going to be the difference maker. And I think yesterday, even though it like didn't solve every problem in my world, because I still woke up today and my hip hurt from pickleball. And by the way, I got my butt kicked by somebody who like weighs 50 pounds more than me, and he was just cleaning my clock. So don't prejudge when you're playing pickleball. I mean, don't prejudge anyway, but don't prejudge when you're playing pickleball because someone will clean your clock in a hurry. But it did put a smile on my face, and maybe the same thing will happen to you. So hey, if you like this, video, give me a thumbs up because I'm kind of not new to it. I guess I'm new to the channel because I only had like one view last time. But I watch a lot of YouTube stuff and I benefit from a lot of YouTube stuff. So hopefully you will benefit a little bit from this. And hey, here's to you, and thank you for checking out this episode of the Gratitude Journal.